Back to the story, Nick Riner. It was December 20th, 2025. The allegations, Carmela, this is not, there's no conviction here yet. These are only allegations, are that Nick Riner goes into the Riner's home, his parents' home, and slashes the throats of both parents here, Rob and Michelle Riner.
While they are sleeping?
They believe it was while they were sleeping, or at least just maybe waking up from a slumber. Nick has pleaded not guilty, and we know that Alan Jackson was at one point going to represent him and then said that there was a conflict.
He cannot buy a bar of soap. Nick Riner, accused of slashing his own parents' throats while they slept, sits in a Los Angeles County jail cell with access to none of the $200 million his family built. And somehow that detail is the one that's breaking the internet. Picture this: a trust fund worth $200 million frozen behind a courthouse door, while the man entitled to half of it requests basic hygiene items from a commissary account that reads zero. That image, wealth and poverty separated by a single signature, is the entire story tonight. Before we go deeper into what the court filings actually show, make sure you're subscribed to CrimeNest Media, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the facts. December 2025, Rob and Michelle Riner are found dead in their Los Angeles home.
Rob and Michelle Riner.
While they are sleeping?
They believe it was while they were sleeping, or at least just maybe waking up from a slumber. Nick has pleaded not guilty, and we know that Alan Jackson was at one point going to represent him and then said that there was a conflict.
Their throats slashed while they slept. Hours later, their own son, 32-year-old Nick Riner, is arrested. He pleads not guilty. No conviction exists. These remain, by law, allegations only. But what happened next turned a murder case into a financial siege. According to a petition filed by Riner's civil attorneys, Nick was legally entitled to half of his trust when he turned 30, back in 2023. That payout, lawyers say, never came. 2 years passed. Then, allegedly, came the murders. The timeline is the irony at the center of this entire case. Money he says was owed to him before any crime occurred is now the same money funding his defense against that crime.
Well, it was a short news package, unless it just stopped.
It's interesting, but they say that he should have been paid half of his trust before he committed the crime.
Yeah.
Ask yourself this: if the funds had been released on schedule, would any of this have happened at all? TMZ has learned that Jody Montgomery.
Yeah. So TMZ is breaking this news right now, Carm, as of just a few minutes ago. Nick Riner may have access to his trust fund very soon. Keep in mind that the Riners are worth something like $200 million. TMZ, which learns everything before everybody, has learned his trustee actually wants a judge to hand over the dough and plans to file legal work ASAP.
Trustee of Nick's fund is preparing to file court documents asking a judge to authorize release of the money
ASAP to get the money flowing. Sources connected to the case tell TMZ that Jody Montgomery, Jody with an I, the trustee of Nick's trust fund, will file court docs next week asking a judge to sign off on Riner's petition, asking for money he says was supposed to be paid out to him when he turned 30 back in 2023. Our sources say Jody will make the request, but a judge will have the final say on whether to release the money as Nick sits in jail awaiting trial. As you know,
a judge, not the family, will have final say. And here's where the case turns from financial to forensic. California has its own version of the Son of Sam law, the Slayer statute, built on one principle.
But there's something in California that is sort of an offshoot of the Son of Sam law in New York, and it's called the California.
A person should not financially benefit from killing another person.
Okay, I'll accept it, even though that is not the truth, but I'll accept it. There is the California Slayer statute. Now, the basic idea is that someone should not financially benefit from killing another person.
That law doesn't automatically apply here because attorneys are careful to separate the money from the murders. The trust money, they argue, was his before anything happened. It's not profit from the crime. It's an inheritance delayed.
Killing two people, so now she is notorious. But the Riner case is different. He didn't get this money he didn't benefit from this money because he killed his parents and they let him write a book about it, or
Money he says was owed to him before the crime. That's the line investigators, lawyers, and now the public can't get past. Nick's lack of funds already cost him his original attorney, Alan Jackson, who withdrew from the case after representing him briefly post-arrest. Jackson has publicly stated he wants back
Waldman
in
on the back. I just know. Judy Herbert popping in just to say how much she loves Carm. Thank you to Judy Herbert.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
so this is not all the headlines here, Carm. Alan Jackson, you know him, right?
Right.
He wants back in. He said that he spoke publicly this week. He originally agreed to represent Nick Riner shortly after the arrest, and later withdrew. Are you surprised that money is more important than representation to Alan Jackson? Because he wasn't.
If the financial situation resolves, a public defender currently represents Riner. Meanwhile, 2 other Riner children are left to process a tragedy with no precedent. Jake, the eldest, a journalist who has spoken publicly about grief and routine. Romy, the youngest, reportedly isolated now on the family compound where she once lived steps from her parents.
The life of solitude. Carm, I mean, so obviously there's Romy, who is the youngest. She's the baby. She's the daughter of Rob and Michelle Riner. And then you've got Jake Riner, who was a news reporter, like yours truly, for a while. What do you think is happening with them 6 months later?
Money, he says, was owed to him before the crime. And now it's the same question dividing what's left of this family. No psychiatric diagnosis has been confirmed. No trial date has been set. What remains is a fractured family, a frozen fortune, and a defendant who says he can't afford soap while sitting on a fortune that could buy a building.
The commissary issue, that's the other big issue. One of the more interesting revelations of the week is Nick apparently claims that he requested money from the trust. This is how a lot of this came up, for just the most basic of needs, things like soap. I don't know if a razor is included in that, if you're even allowed to shave, or how that works in jail. From some, it garnered sympathy, and from others, people got enraged. What does it do to you when you hear that Nick needs things like soap and you can't even afford a bar of soap because you can't?
We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to show you what's on the record. Pull the civil petition filed in this trust litigation, publicly available through the Los Angeles County Superior Court system, and read it for yourself. Then tell us in the comments, should a person facing murder charges have access to inherited wealth before trial? Or should that money wait until the truth is decided in a courtroom? If this case raises questions for you, like this video, share it, subscribe, and turn on notifications for CrimeNest Media. We follow the facts wherever they lead.